Hello and welcome back to The Investor's Opinion. Today we're going to talk about multiples. Keeping things simple, for investors, multiples are a quick and dirty way to value a company. Now don't do me a dirty and go down there and smash those like and subscribe buttons. Multiples, for the sake of valuation, come in three main categories: earnings-based, sales-based, and asset-based. All of these are used essentially the same way, comparatively and precedentially. Investors will compare ratios against their competitors, other companies in the industry, and as the industry overall. That's comparable valuation using multiples. Precedential valuation using multiples involves either using forecasted values or historic values. This all comes back to the eventual hope of finding one of those nicely undervalued companies to invest in. The most important part about a multiple valuation is actually deciding which valuation multiple method you are going to take for the company that you're looking at. The skill comes in identifying what is actually driving the sector and the companies within the sector from an investor's sentiment standpoint. What metric is driving the industry and the sector? Such as EV vehicles and the current industry that we're seeing right now, is most people are looking at sales numbers as well as delivery numbers. Whereas currently investors at the moment for mega cap technology, it's all about earnings, revenues, and profits. There's no point evaluating a company on an earnings metric when it doesn't make any. So how do we calculate multiples? Well, thankfully quite easy. All the primary multiples used today and the ones that investors currently shoehorn are all calculated essentially the same way. It is the price of the share divided by the specified metric that you've decided from the aforementioned categories. For example, PE ratio is the share price divided by the earnings per share, or EPS for short. Specifically, we are looking to see how much investors are willing to pay per dollar of earnings. As I said earlier, this is a quick and dirty way to get a face value valuation out of a company with very, very minimal effort. Personally, I use multiples so that I can identify a company that I might need to deep dive and do a qualitative and a further quantitative analysis on. By no means should this be your only valuation method. Please see my other videos on my channel for other types of valuation methodologies, as I believe that everybody should combine all the valuation methodologies into one giant thesis, and that's the best way you're going to make the best investment decisions. Lastly, let's discuss reasons why multiples can be dangerous or shouldn't be used in certain situations. The first and most obvious one is that companies don't make earnings in their embryonic or early stages of their business cycle. These ratios can leave out very important aspects of a business that make it worth paying a premium for, like other investors have decided to do so. And these moments, such as the early business cycle or the embryonic stage of a company, may actually be some of the most exciting and best times to invest in that company. PE ratios and multiples in general just make a huge assumption that the financials and earnings or sales, or just in general their book value, will actually remain consistent or at least stable throughout its forecasted life, or using historic precedent, when in reality, this doesn't actually take into consideration the volatility that comes from the outside world. Pandemics aren't calculated into your PE ratio, especially your forward P. Companies are extremely complex, and you're gonna need something a little bit more than just a multiple telling you in regards to its Fugazi-based price that's determined by the market, divided by any particular specific fundamental metric. You're not going to get any deep analysis. You're going to get a very shallow and very basic ballpark range of evaluation. So don't use them as a massive green flag. Use them as an indicator to decide personally whether you want to deep dive into the company and do one of those very raw and very basic financial, quantitative and qualitative analyses to decide whether you want to really pursue this particular stock as an investment. They aren't a super tool to guarantee great returns. It's a shallow, quick and easy tool used to decide whether or not company A may be better than company B. As usual, I recommend the use of every tool and skill set that you have acquired over the years of investing, or even just months, to decide whether or not this company is where you want to put your money. I just hope that today I've either cleared up or given you one of those tools to add to that skill set. Nice, short and sweet this week. Pretty busy these days as university seems to be picking up a little bit. Next week's video will be on a company analysis again, and I'm very excited for that. Thanks so much for watching that again. Hit that like and subscribe button down the bottom, and good hunting.